I will go ahead and kick things off with a brief introduction to cucurbit viruses in the United States. So, as many of you know, cucurbits are produced throughout the world. They are an important vegetable crop in the United States, where they were produced as of the 2022 census on 345,000 acres, amounting to $1.57 billion. There are many challenges to cucurbit production. Among these, diseases caused by viruses have had an increasing impact on production. And so just to kind of give you a rough timeline about where some of these viruses have entered into the system. In the early 1900s, we had cucumber mosaic virus and squash mosaic virus. This was followed by beet curly-top virus in cucurbits between 1925 and 1926. Then in the 1930s and 40s, we saw watermelon mosaic virus and papaya ring spot virus. Beet pseudo-yellows virus emerged in cucurbits in the early 1960s. Then in the late 1970s to 1980s, we had a suite of viruses: lettuce infectious yellows virus, squash leaf curl virus, zucchini yellow mosaic virus, and melanocrotic spot virus. And then in 1989, we saw cucurbit aphid-borne yellows virus. In 1990, there was a shift in the whitefly biotype, which led to changes in the whitefly-transmitted viruses that were present in the United States. In 1998 and 1999, we had cucurbit leaf crumple virus show up, as well as cucurbit yellow stunting disorder virus. Then zucchini tiger mosaic virus was described in 2002 in Florida. In 2005, we had squash vein yellowing virus, which was described, and as best we could find, tomato ring spot virus and tobacco ring spot virus in cucurbits. In 2013, we had tobacco streak virus, and cucumber green mottle mosaic virus was detected in the United States. This virus is now under official control in the US. And then in 2014 was the first occurrence of cucurbit chlorotic yellows virus. Then now we're moving into about the last decade. In 2017, we had a detection of watermelon green mottle mosaic virus. Again, another virus that is under official control in the United States. In 2021, we had watermelon crinkle leaf associated virus 1 and 2 that were described. In 2022, we saw the emergence of melon severe mosaic virus. And most recently, we had watermelon chlorotic stunt virus that was described in 2023. So over the last 25 or 26 years, we've had a new virus described or introduced into the United States approximately every 3.1 years. So what is next? What we're going to do in this presentation series or webinar series is talk about most of these viruses and give you all a better idea of what is important and what you need to know. So we talked about introduction and describing of new viruses. So just to give you an example of how some of these viruses spread, there are several whitefly-transmitted viruses that cause disease on U.S. cucurbit crops. You can see a number of those here on the slide. If you look at how these viruses emerged in the United States, we started with squash leaf curl virus in 1977 in California. This virus eventually spread to Arizona and eastward. Then we had lettuce infectious yellows virus that was described in California and Arizona in 1981. These two viruses were transmitted by the A biotype of Bemisia tabaci. When this biotype was displaced by the B biotype, that is what caused some of the shift in some of the whitefly-transmitted viruses. Squash leaf curl virus is not observed as much, and lettuce infectious yellows virus is pretty much disappeared from detection. Then we had cucurbit leaf crumple virus that was described in Texas, California, and Arizona, all approximately about the same time. This virus also spread eastward. CYSDV was described in Texas, and that spread both westward and eastward. In Florida, we had squash vein yellowing virus that was first described, and this virus also spread within the southeast and westward. CCYV in 2014 was described in California in the United States, and then that also spread to Arizona and to the southeast. And most recently, watermelon chlorotic stunt virus in 2023. Thus far, as what we know, is still limited out to the west. And so what you've seen is that once you have a virus that is introduced or described in one region, within a few years, it seems to quickly spread to other regions of the US. So that's just an example. This is a publication that we have on the EVCWG webpage that groups the viruses based on their modes of transmission. You can see this is pretty comprehensive in terms of a lot of viruses that we have that have caused problems in the US and are either common in various production areas of the US or in the areas where they do occur have been shown to emerge and cause issues. So we will discuss most of these throughout this webinar series. A few things that you should keep in mind. Many of the cucurbit viruses in the US are transmitted by common agricultural insects that you see here. This is another publication on our website. Symptoms of many viruses can be difficult, if not impossible, to differentiate. For example, the picture you see on the screen is a pumpkin plant infected with watermelon mosaic virus. Those symptoms are identical or very similar to a number of other viruses, including papaya ring spot virus, zucchini yellow mosaic virus, squash mosaic virus, cucumber mosaic virus, and cucumber green mottle mosaic virus, which again is currently under official control in the US. In addition, mixed virus infections have become increasingly common in US cucurbit production. So, along with the symptoms, you can't just assume that you have one virus over another. It is possible that you have multiple viruses. And that will be discussed through some of the presentations today and in the future. But as another example, the picture that you see on the left is a melon plant that has both watermelon chlorotic stunt virus as well as cucurbit yellow stunting disorder virus. Both of those symptoms are present in the picture on the left, and the picture on the right has a close-up of the symptoms of watermelon chlorotic stunt virus. That being said, in many cases, laboratory testing is necessary for an accurate diagnosis. Many of these diagnoses require either serological methods if they are available, or more molecular methods involving sequencing many times. It is important to know that choosing an appropriate assay for virus detection is critical. Those considerations take into account specificity, sensitivity, reliability, efficiency, quantification, volume, cost, speed, and the potential for mixed infections. And there are some assays that can detect up to 4 different viruses. So depending on the purpose of what you are looking for, you need to be sure that you are choosing or using a lab that is using an appropriate diagnostic method. So, as you have seen, the problem, we have cucurbit viruses that affect the yield and quality of the fruit that cause reduced marketability and profits. These viruses are being introduced into and emerging into the United States at an alarming rate. And additional viruses that I did not discuss do affect cucurbits and exist internationally and could potentially be introduced into the US. So through discussion, it was determined that there was insufficient industry-wide communication and knowledge of some of these viruses and their management within the cucurbit industry, and that increased communication was necessary to try and help combat this problem. Which leads us to the Emerging Viruses in Cucurbits Working Group. So the working group evolved. It began as an Idea Cafe discussion at Plant Health 2021. We are now in our 5th year. Started our 5th year in March of 2026, just this year. But that Idea Cafe led to follow-up discussions and funding from 2 grants provided through the Southern IPM Center and USDA NIFA to help support the activities and the development of the EVCWG. So, who are we? We are a collaborative group of 27 current members that represent various crops, disciplines, and sectors of the cucurbit industry. You can see the list of current members here. We also have affiliates in various countries outside of the US. Our mission is to improve communication and knowledge about viruses across the cucurbit industry and develop strategies to successfully identify and mitigate virus threats to cucurbit production in the US. We are achieving that mission by holding quarterly meetings, developing educational resources on virus threats to cucurbit production, sharing those resources on the Emerging Viruses in Cucurbits website, ecucurbitviruses.org, also available by scanning the QR code on the screen. We've been delivering educational presentations on emerging viruses and their management to stakeholders, both producers as well as scientists throughout the industry. We began facilitating and hosting open meetings and webinars discussions, such as the one you're joining us all for today. And we also discussed priorities for cucurbit virus mitigation. So just to show you an example, this is the homepage of our website, ecucurbitviruses.org. Some of the information that is available on there, particularly under the resources. We have fact sheets, photo gallery, various useful links, and a page for our webinars. So this is just an example of our fact sheets and videos page. Some of our resources, including our postcards, are available both in English and Spanish. This is a suite of some of the examples of our fact sheets and our postcards that are available both in HTML format as well as in PDFs for easy download. Again, some of our quick postcards also available as a PDF. And this is our list of what we have right now. And then we do have some additional publications and fact sheets that will be coming soon, so stay tuned. This is a compilation of some of the photos on our photo gallery, and we continue to add photos there when possible. So again, if you need to see some virus symptoms or various mixed infections, we encourage you to visit that page. And finally, what can you do to help? Visit the EVCWG website, learn about our working group and emerging viruses and cucurbits, participate in EVCWG events and discussions in order to be on the mailing list so that you can receive announcements about some of those educational events and new resources. You can visit our website and then click on the red Join Our Mailing List button, or you can scan the QR code at the bottom right of the screen. And then, of course, share the EVCWG resources with your colleagues and stakeholders and share your feedback. We do have a survey on the website, as well as we'll have some questions at the end of the webinar series. We do appreciate all of your feedback, and that helps us to continue to do what we're doing. So I thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and we will move on to our next presentation.